Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. Tissues. Shoo. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Van Chat. It is me, it is I, it is this guy, your lovely host, Anthony Mayfield. I paused for a long time there for dramatic effect, but I'm not sure if it was dramatic or weird. Do y'all like churros? So yeah, this week my video posting schedule was a little bit different. Usually I post a video of the poetry video variety, just one video, 1 week. Then the following week, I do a Van Chat to follow up. But this week, I did it a little bit differently. I posted a poem video the week before, as scheduled. But then this week, I also posted an additional poem video of a different variety than what I usually do. So this time around, I posted my usual poem video the week before, and then this week, I also, instead of doing my Van Chat, which I'm doing right now because I want to keep Van Chat going, I think it's important to this channel, but instead of initially posting a Van Chat, as I usually would do, I posted an additional video. I posted a slam poem, which is essentially a poem video, yes, but it's different than the variety of poem video that I usually do. Now, usually when I do poem videos, they're symbolic, abstract, the symbolism, the metaphorism, the symbolism and the use of metaphor is very strong in those videos, in which case I either do shots that I think are symbolic to the meaning, or I place myself in various angles of shots that I think are good metaphors to serve for whatever the theme of the poem might be, and then there's a voiceover of me speaking over those clips put together into a single video. Now, in this case, for the slam poem that I did, it wasn't a voiceover, and it was all one single take of me reciting a slam poem that I wrote that same day right before recording it. So the reason why I chose to post that video and why I chose to record it in the first place is that, you know, there's a lot weighing on me from my upbringing, as I mentioned in a previous video. There's a lot of things that I struggle with internally. I have some mental health issues that I am fighting with on a daily basis. Some days I'm victorious, some days it is more of an uphill climb, and the hill is 90 degrees, and that's almost impossible if gravity would just let me float on up to the top, but it never does. I have to fight gravity to fight my mind sometimes. That's essentially how it feels to be me. And along with that, I have some legitimate struggles with my self-perception of my own self-worth, my identity, whether or not I made the right choices to be the kind of person who I am now. All of those things weigh me down on literally a daily basis. Sometimes the thoughts are fleeting. I get those thoughts and then they go within 30 seconds. Sometimes they last literally all day, and I find myself nearing full-on meltdown levels of sadness, and sometimes even anger and fear. Just all of these feelings stemming from my PTSD that just swirl up and randomly hit me from triggers that I don't even acknowledge, triggers that I don't see coming, and all of a sudden I'm a mess. And the sad part is, though I try to regulate, sometimes I legitimately cannot control it. That's just one of the shittier parts of it. And it has gotten better in some cases. Believe me, once upon a time, I was severe. But now, I have it regulated to the point where I'm at least mostly aware of when I'm entering a triggered state. And when that happens, though I try to fight it, sometimes it's still a 90-degree uphill fight. And when I'm facing that 90-degree hill in my head, I find myself reliving all of my past traumas simultaneously. And when this happens, all of my doubts come to the forefront of my mind, and I find myself truly questioning if I am worth existing even sometimes. I'm gonna be forthcoming about that. I have struggled with suicidal thoughts and tendencies at times, and it's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I at all advocate for, but it is something that is a part of me that I struggle with every day, and I do want to be honest about that. There's these dark thoughts in my head that are a result of my traumas that I face time and time again. Now, I'm not vocalizing this to make myself sound like a hero or a martyr. I am not vocalizing this to make it sound like I have it all together. You're catching me at a good moment, okay? Like, this is not me on a daily basis. I am not always this calm, goofy, dorky love nut that I am now. Love nut sounds weirdly sexual and gross. I am so sorry. Ooh. But bottom line, you're catching me at one of those rare times when I am calm and content and at emotional stable peace with myself. Otherwise, it is a war zone in my head on a daily basis. Day in, day out, I am fighting just to get through each and every day, all because of the traumas that I faced for the first 25 years of my life, basically. And I'm 26 now. I mean, my first 24 years of life were spent in an abusive environment that I thought was normal until I realized it wasn't. Then, next thing you know, there's about a year and a half or so of homelessness. So, for most of my life, assuming I live to be 100, let's say, that's the first quarter of my life where I have had to live through trauma after trauma after trauma. My sexuality being what it is, and the religious environment being what it was, and the fact that I was raised in that environment for so long, there is this dichotomy in my mind where I truly wonder, glasses, if I made a mistake by coming out as gay, and if by being gay I am a failure. These are thoughts that I struggle with every single day in some capacity. And at the end of the day, I always emerge triumphant, and I always come back to myself, because I know for a fact that if I was to go back to my old life, I would not be happy. I would be miserable. And this week, those thoughts in my head were running rampant way more than usual. And so, I did what works best for me in times like that, when I have a feeling in my head that I can't express in a normal, rational way. So, I wrote instead. I wrote a poem about what I was feeling. And as I wrote, my feelings changed from dark depression to hope, because I was putting my feelings from my shoulders to the paper. Not only could I feel what I was writing, but I could see the words. I could see my feelings as I was feeling them, as I was writing them in that moment. And therefore, I was validating my own feelings, which is rare for me because, you know what? Growing up, I was never validated. So I had no idea, have no idea, what validation of any form looks like. Unfortunately, sad to say. But when I was writing my poem down about how I was feeling, that was a moment of self-validation, and I was able to acknowledge that about myself, which is rare for me. So I am proud of myself for that. Not to sound pompous, but I do think it needs to be encouraged, words. I do think it needs to be encouraged more that we should be able to recognize our own triumphs without being labeled as selfish or pompous. I mean, if we wait on others to acknowledge our triumphs and our victories for us, we're going to be waiting for a real long time, because then at that point, we're only doing things for show. And if we do things for show, people get picky, and nothing's good enough. And only a small few will conveniently or conditionally acknowledge those triumphs and victories. So therefore, it should be encouraged to acknowledge it for yourself. So I am proud of myself for being able to acknowledge my self-validation in a time when I don't even know how to feel validated, let alone how to feel settled with anything. And so I chose to record me doing the slam poem as I did it. And when I was doing that, I felt myself becoming immersed within myself and within the moment. And with each word that I recited from that slam poem, I felt more in the moment. I felt more raw, more real, more human even for a little bit. And so I chose to post that along with my prior video, Prison of Innocence, because they explore similar themes. Similar themes of feeling locked within oneself, feeling locked within one's own view of oneself, and feeling unable to escape because of what's been projected onto you. That's what Prison of Innocence was about, in a way. Prison of Innocence was about being a prisoner within the world and within yourself, because what's projected onto you causes you to feel like you don't belong, like you're not welcome, and so therefore you lock yourself into yourself, and you become your own shackle. You become your own cell. You become your own warden. You lock yourself away in your own prison of innocence. And the only way out is to love yourself. And that takes a shit ton of work. It is not as easy as they say it is. People say, you know what? Love yourself. You can't find love until you love yourself. You won't be able to do this or do that, whatever, until you love yourself. But you know what? It's not that simple. It's just not. That's just the way it is. You have to work for it. And if you've never felt love before, like I haven't, real, true, unconditional human love, people saying things like love yourself, while well-intentioned, it's a bit insensitive because it takes work. Love in general takes work. You can't just meet someone out of the blue and then automatically love them. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes consistency, and it takes effort. Loving yourself is no different. You can want to love someone, but you can't force it. You can love yourself, but you cannot force it. All you can do is show yourself compassion, show yourself patience, commit to yourself, and be consistent with yourself as much as you can. Stay within yourself. And little by little, show yourself kindness little by little, show yourself love little by little with whatever you can, and then you'll get to that point of loving yourself. I'm not even there totally, but I'm getting there. And I hope that someday I can be there in full to where I don't find myself locked in my room on my bed in fetal position, which has happened more than I'd like to admit. But the bottom line is, it is possible to get there. And though I'm not there myself, I'm farther along than I was at this time last year. And I am proud of that, that's for damn sure. And so the reason why I chose to post both of those videos, instead of poem video, then van chat, and poem video, then van chat, is because a huge component of this channel is self-expression. And that slam poem that I did was a major milestone for me, and it was also a huge, huge, huge expressive moment for me, and I wanted to share that, in case there's others who have similar fears, regrets, guilts about being gay, and about being themselves in full. If there's anybody out there who feels like because they're gay, their life's a mess, who feels like being gay is a mistake, or who feels like a failure, I've been there. I am there. Like, I am literally there right now. Every single day I am there. It's not an uncommon feeling, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not at that light yet, but I'm working on getting there, and that's good enough. Doing the work. That really is good enough. Like I said in my slam poem, I'm trying. I repeated that line 2 or 3 times. I'm trying. And I put that at the end because at the end of the day, that's all we can do is try. In my case in the slam poem is I'm trying to not hate myself for being gay. For you, maybe it's trying something different. Maybe it's trying to love another person. Maybe it's trying this or trying that. The bottom line, we're all trying. We might not get there in the first try, but we're still trying. And that is how we succeed in life, is by trying, and by keeping the trying going. Keeping the trying going. Is that grammatically correct? As a writer, I should know that, but I don't know. Help me. We don't have all the answers, and life isn't always going to be positive. That's just a reality. But we gotta keep trying. And when we lock ourselves within ourselves, we gotta try our best to find that key and save ourselves from ourselves. That's a mouthful, but it's true. We gotta just keep on trying. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows and daisies. You gotta take the bad with the good. You gotta acknowledge that the bad is there so you can appreciate the good. I'm acknowledging my bad. I'm trying my best to anyway. And through that, while I'm still learning what goodness is, little by little, I'm starting to see it, and I'm appreciating it. Glasses. Okay, so we're at that awkward stage where I don't know how to end videos, so instead of just rambling, I'm just gonna do the thing where I put my hand over the camera and say bye all weirdly. Okay, bye!